Hello everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Khan and I am your host. Today I'm starting a brand new series and it's going to be called GregTech Unplugged. I'm leaving everything else on default settings. Let's create a new world. Alright, we are here. And you might notice down in the text section it says, your game mode has been updated and it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And I have with me an axe, a flint axe, a GregTech flint axe. And the reason for that is very simple. It's because I'm playing in adventure mode. Check this out. If I try to hit these leaves, nothing happens. I'm clicking, nothing's happening. If I just hold down the left click, nothing happens. It's adventure mode. Let's go over to this tree here and try to punch it like we would in normal Minecraft, and nothing happens. I can't do it to the dirt. So, if you have never played in adventure mode, you never played an adventure map, adventure mode is just like survival mode, except for one very key difference, which is that you cannot break any blocks if you don't have the proper tools to do so. And that is why we start with the flint axe. The flint axe will allow me to chop down my first trees, which will of course allow me to make more tools, which will allow me to progress. But prior to doing that, the first thing I'm going to do is come say hello to my little sheep friend here and close my eyes because I'm sorry, I really need your wool. One of the first things I want to do is be able to make a bed, and I just happen to spawn in an area with lots of sheep, so yeah, you guys are going to be my new bed. And you may notice that the flint axe does set these guys on fire when it hits them, which is nice because that means I only have to hit them once. And if you look at the flint axe, it says fire aspect 1. That's right, if you do make tools with flint, you do get fire aspect 1 as sort of a default thing that goes on. And I was lucky enough to find 3 sheep with black wool, which is just amazing because I will at least have one single colored bed instead of a multicolored bed. I am in a jungle biome, so I'm going to start off cutting some wood, and while I cut some wood, why am I playing in adventure mode? Does anybody else wonder about that? Well, let's talk about that.
Okay, I spent about 20 minutes talking about the mods I have installed, and I did that while I was walking through the jungle. The jungle footage is extremely boring, and I don't think you guys want to see 20 minutes worth of jungle leaves. So I am putting video footage under what I've said. The video footage is after I got out of the jungle, but I have to splice some things back in so they make sense. Anyway, the point being, some of this might look a little disjointed. I apologize for that, but I think it's better than watching jungle leaves for way too long.
Basically, when I became interested in GregTech many years ago, at that time, one of the things that the developer of the mod said was that he felt that GregTech should be played completely within adventure mode. I actually think that he may have said that all of Minecraft should be played completely 100% within adventure mode. I want to say he said that. I could be misremembering that, but I feel like that's something that he would have said. Then it so happened that in my most recent series that I've done, which was with a mod pack called Infotech, which I encourage everybody to check out. It's a very neat mod pack, and if you have interest in GregTech, you may definitely like that mod pack. I had noticed in the settings for GregTech, or the configuration file for GregTech, that there was settings for starting in adventure mode and starting with an axe if you do start in adventure mode in order to make things a tiny bit easier. And because I saw those settings, it reminded me of what I had read years ago about playing GregTech completely in adventure mode. And I thought, what a neat thing to try out. I'm going to play GregTech completely in adventure mode and see if it's possible. See if it's really something that is doable. So that is why this is going to be done in adventure mode. Now, the next thing let's talk about is the mods that I have installed. And basically, I only have 4 content adding mods other than GregTech. this is going to be a series primarily devoted to GregTech. So if you don't like GregTech, you think it's the worst mod that's ever been created, ever in the existence of humanity, then I gotta ask, why are you bothering to watch this? I mean, gosh, this has got to be terribly, terribly dull. But if you do watch it and you feel the need to comment about how bad GregTech is, well, I reserve the right to make fun of you, because why are you watching a video that you don't have any interest in? There's lots of things on YouTube. Go find something much, much more fun to watch. Don't waste your time watching something that doesn't interest you. But as I said, I only have 4 content-adding mods other than GregTech. So let me mention those right off the bat. The first one, and I shouldn't even have to mention it, but I'm going to do so just for a sake of completeness, is Industrial Craft, IC2. Now, technically speaking, GregTech is an add-on for IC2. So, of course, IC2 is going to be an important mod that has to be involved. And it does mean that there are going to be some things going to be made from IC2 in order to help progress and also to help do various things. So don't be surprised if you see some Industrial Craft stuff in here as well. Again, my main focus will be on GregTech, but out of sheer necessity, there will of course be some Industrial Craft. The second mod that I have installed is a mod called Per Fabrica Ad Astra, or PFAA. And PFAA mainly deals with changing some terrain type things. It creates different kinds of rocks and distributes them throughout the ground. There's different kinds of sand and gravel. It's actually really pretty neat. I've only seen a little bit of what it does, but I do kind of like it. The reason that I decided I wanted to try it out and play with it is that I had read that if PFAA is used to generate ores, because it generates more realistic ores than vanilla Minecraft, if it's used to generate ores, then GregTech disables its own ore generating. Now, if you know anything about the developer of GregTech, it is extremely rare that he will allow some other mod to take precedence over his own. And the simple fact that he would say, oh, I would prefer this mod's ore generation over mine. Maybe not prefer is the right word, but that he would allow it to exist instead of his own, just made me feel like, well, maybe this mod has something to offer. So I thought, why not? Let me use the PFAA mod and let it be responsible for generating the ores. That will, of course, create quite a bit of a challenge because it doesn't create ores the way vanilla Minecraft does. They are more spread out. They're not in clumps like they are in vanilla Minecraft. It may make things hard to find. The next mod that I have that adds any sort of content is chicken chunks. And that is to give me a chunk loader. And that's really for my own sanity more than anything else. Basically, there are times when I'm going to want to make, a stack of aluminium, say, in a blast furnace. If things haven't changed, then each one of those is going to require like a minute and a half. And if I want to make a stack, you're talking about over an hour and a half of just waiting there for aluminium to be made, and I don't want to have to just sit there and wait for it. At least if I have a chunk loader, I can have the area around the blast furnace chunk loaded so that I can put in a stack of aluminium, let it go, and then I can go off and spend that hour and a half doing some mining. I'm not on a server of any kind, so I can't do like an AFK type thing. Sometimes I can, if I just want to leave my computer on, but honestly, most of the time when I'm at my computer, I want to be playing, and I don't want to just be sitting there waiting for aluminium to cook up. So the chunk loader, as I said, is really for my own sanity. And that is it. That is all of the content adding mods that I have. And that's why this is called GregTech Unplugged. It's GregTech without any extras that can be used to aid things or help things along. So I don't have better conduits or ways of moving items and fluids around. I don't have better ways of storing things. This is going to be sort of gonna have to do it the best that I can with what I have, which means it won't be easy, which of course should make it a little bit interesting. And for those of you that are interested in GregTech or want to learn about GregTech or how some of the items work, hopefully this will give you an idea of how to do things in GregTech. Obviously, if you're playing GregTech in some sort of mod pack where you have other mods, you will probably be able to find ways to do things somewhat easier, and that would be obviously very, very good. So again, this is mainly to see what it would be like to do just in GregTech. Now, I haven't had much luck with what I want to do here. I really want to get out of the jungle. As I said, since I can't break blocks, I can't even break these leaves. You need shears to break leaves. I cannot break the leaves, which means a lot of this is just difficult terrain. I can break the grass, and I should do that occasionally because I'm going to need to find some seeds in order to start my first crop growing and make sure that I can have some source of food at some point in time. And I did find a batch of sand, which is called granitic mineral sand, and this sand, I believe I can get iron from that sand, but I do need to have a GregTech shovel in order to dig up the sand. So it's not as simple as just, again, I can't punch, even though it's sand and it operates like sand, I can't just punch up sand in adventure mode. I have to have the correct tool in order to do anything. And this jungle is flippin' huge. So I am going to try to find my way out of here because this is not the most pleasant place to be in. You can also see some of the various kinds of stones that you can encounter because of the PFAA mod. You see there's carbonatite stone, some mudstone / shale stone. You can see there's some redstone ore that has been created inside these shale ore. You can see that the texture for the redstone is overlaid over the mudstone, so it's the same type of texture. And here we have some barium here, and there's some bituminous coal, which is great, and there's some limestone. So yeah, the ores are not gonna... there's chalcopyrite, which is copper. Oh, I need copper too. We're going to mark this area on our map. Call that copper lows. But even so, I am still going to look for a way out of the jungle. I can always come back here and get some of this stuff as I like. But yes, again, the spawning of ores is going to be very, very different than vanilla Minecraft. It's not going to be a simple case of Y levels and finding, clumps of 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 ores in an area. It's very much the concept of ore veins in sort of distributed areas. They're not necessarily next to each other. So things like strip mining, branch mining, very ineffective in locating ores. It's actually much better to find caves and go searching in caves. But I am going to find a way out of this dang jungle. I feel like I'm in the Amazon. I've noticed that in the case of these melons, I can't harvest them with this axe, nor can I harvest them with just a blank or with an empty hand. So it is possible that I may come to issues where certain things cannot be harvested. I don't know what the proper tool is to harvest the melon. Maybe I need a hoe or something else. Maybe it'll work with a sword. I don't know. But if I run into any type of major blockage, if I can't harvest melons, I'm not going to worry about things unless there's some recipe somewhere down the line that requires melons, which I seriously doubt. But if I run into some sort of major issue that says, okay, this particular item hasn't doesn't have a tool register to it, and therefore it's unbreakable, and that's going to cause a lot of problems, then of course I will reserve the right to, end playing in adventure mode and just switch to regular survival mode. But I do want to stay in adventure mode as much as possible. I know that, GregTech may have made sure that everything created within it has a tool associated with it, but it's always possible that vanilla Minecraft has not. So just wanted to throw that out there, that adventure mode is sort of an ideal. I understand that it may not work out in theory, but I definitely at least wanted to give it a try. Another nice thing, which I just saw but you may not have seen, is that I got cooked pork chops from killing the pig, because again the axe has got fire aspect on it. So because the pig was on fire when it died, the pork chop automatically was cooked when I got it, which is, obviously pretty nice. It doesn't happen with the chickens because the damage of the axe outright kills the chickens. So they're not on fire when they die, and they just died directly, and so therefore I did not get cooked chicken from the chickens when I killed them. But this flint axe that they start you off with does have some benefits in those areas, so it's not totally useless in it by any means. Now, while I only have the 4 content adding mods that I mentioned, I do have other, what I refer to as helper mods, and these are mods that don't really add any blocks or items or anything like that to the game, but rather just add elements that help that, probably aren't completely necessary, but I would just be lost without them in some cases. And so things like I have Journey Map installed, and that of course gives me a mini map that I can use, and I can put down waypoints. And it's one of those things where, vanilla Minecraft, you can use the F3 key like so to get your coordinates, and you could write down the coordinates of various items that you find so that you don't need to use a waypoint or a mini map, and etc. But just having something like a mini map is extremely useful, and I find it to be almost a necessity because I do have a tendency to get lost very easily. I have not enough items, which is for recipes, and even the author of the GregTech mod encourages people to use NEI because recipes can change and wikis might not be up to date, and it's much better to go off of something that generates the recipes based upon what the actual code says as opposed to what people have written in a wiki, which again may be out of date. Let's see. I also have one of my favorite mods. Well, it's not my favorite mod. It's my favorite result of a mod. I think there are other mods that do something similar, but I use in-game info XML, and the only thing that I actually use it for is to display the Minecraft day and time. You can see that in the upper left-hand corner, and I like that because it for me it's nice. It gives me an idea of how long I've been playing. It gives me an idea of how long it's taken me to do something. If I say I've been at something for a very long time, you can actually see how much Minecraft time I had to spend to do it, and you can probably extrapolate from that how much real life time I spent working on it as well. What else? I have inventory tweaks, I believe. I have Wayla as well. And finally found my way out of the jungle onto some plains, it looks like, which is fine. At least it's an area that is semi-flat that I can start working on making some farmland and doing sort of the infrastructure stuff to make sure I can survive and live to see another day. I think that will do it for this introductory episode. As always, I thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, if you would like to say hi, if you want to make fun of me, anything you want, put it down in the comments down below, and I will try my best to respond to them as promptly as possible. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. And see what happens. It might be a little bit on the slow side, GregTech, and I believe the terrain generator that I'm using kind of take a little bit of time. But that's okay. We can be patient. Or can we? Maybe we cannot. Maybe we can. Maybe I'll just skip all of this and I'm just talking into thin air and nobody will hear it. That's probably the most likely thing that will happen because this is turning out to take quite a bit longer than I originally thought that it would. Anyway, something's happening, something's going on, and do I have game yet? No? Maybe? I hear sheep? Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Today I'm starting a brand new series, and it's going to be about GregTech. I am also going to be playing in adventure mode. That's right, I don't think I can select adventure mode here. Nope. But it is going to be in adventure mode. Oh, and I'm also using version 5 of GregTech. So that's actually very long. Why don't we just shorten this down to, let's just call it GTA 5. I'm going to be playing GTA 5 and... What? Why can't I call it GTA 5? Ah, crap.